Hello, everybody. It's great to be here one more time today. My name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, President, Founder of GSD Get You Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which is sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion. Also, Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. We believe at GSD that intellectual capacity is evenly spread, but opportunities are not. By the way, GSD stands for Get Shit Done. It ain't about the talk, it's about the action. So today on GSD Presents Top Global Startups, I have an incredible guest, and I want to welcome you each back. GSD Presents is where we bring the innovators building the future across AI, deep tech, and global impact. Today's conversation sits at the intersection of space, intelligence, and survival, because the future of our cities will depend on how well we understand what's happening above them. My guest today is Gaetano Volpe, CEO and co-founder of Latitude 40, a cutting-edge Earth observation geospatial AI company transforming satellite data into actionable insights for urban climate resilience. Founded as a spinoff from the University of Naples, Latitude 40 is helping governments, enterprise, and institutions move from reactive crisis management to predictive data-driven decision-making, using space-based intelligence to tackle real-world challenges like heat islands, pollution, infrastructure threats, and climate risk. Gaetano brings a unique blend of deep tech innovation, strategic scaling, and real-world application, turning complex satellite data into tools that cities can actually use. Today, we're going to explore how satellite intelligence become a new layer of infrastructure and why it may be one of the most important technologies shaping the future of urban life. So with that, I'd like to bring him on. Hi, Gaetano. How are you today?
Hi, good. Thank you for the invitation, Gary. Happy to be here in your show and happy to tell more about our company, our vision, and our strategy.
So what was the original insight behind Latitude 40? What problem do you see that others were missing?
Yeah, the problem that we try to solve with the company is that today climate risks, and in general problem for cities, for infrastructure, can be solved only using data. The data exists because we have hundreds of satellites that are flying over our head, but normally for the businessmen or normal people, these data are not easily available. So what we are trying to do is to simplify and refine the access to this climate data, to transform this data that are normally pixels, are numbers, and normally you need a data scientist to understand what is happening, what an image represents, in an information that you can immediately use in your decision system, in your everyday choose. So to say I need to make an intervention in my infrastructure, or I have 1 million of people that are connected to my energy network that can expect a blackout because I will have a storm. So we are working now, and we use a fantastic technology that is satellite remote sensing, and technology invented more than 40 years ago. And so we have a time machine. So what we try to, we don't not only see the risk, the problem, but we have the capability using AI, using data science to understand why you have this problem.
So, why Naples and how did being a university spinoff shape your early trajectory?
Yeah, this is our story because me, of the three co-founder, me and Mauro, had a good long experience in the industry, and then we met Donato, that is a researcher in remote sensing. He studied radar and how to use remote sensing technology in real problem for more than 10 years. Then we decided to start the company, and the Latitude 40 is the latitude of Naples, New York, and a lot of other people, city all around the world. And we said, try to create something that will be different. 4 or 5 years ago, the new space economy is just in the starting point, almost in Europe. We say, okay, we would like to take this wave and to help people to. So it's also a combination of technology, but also a vision for a sustainable place to live, a place to live to our children, our son a better place to live.
So when did you realize satellite data was moving from nice-to-have analytics to mission-critical infrastructure?
Yeah, this happened. I come from the satellite industry, so I know for a very long time the importance of this data. But normally, let me say, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, it's not easy to create a solution that can be useful and scalable for a lot of corporations because it's too technical. There is not so cloud power. AI is not so easy to use. But the problem is that now the risk, we live with risk. So we imagine the fire that you experienced the last year in Los Angeles at the start of the year is just a problem of climate change. Because if for a long time there is no rain, the soil is not so responsive, and the vegetation can fire very fast. The flooding in Bologna, the flooding in Valencia. We see normally more than 60 severe weather events we experience it every year, and we lose more than 400 billion for reactive approach. So now the approach to the risk in 98, 97% of the case is reactive. Something happened, I try to solve the problem. Only 3 or 4%, the most important and the top of the market, has a predictive approach where we say, okay, I need to solve the problem to mitigate the risk before to do this. So we do this, and now we are working for the future. So the company is not only offer an observative technology that analyzes for you the risk of today, but it's important to say, okay, you have this risk today, an infrastructure, real estate operator, and a city. But if you act now, you can mitigate the risk. But if you don't act now, your risk will exacerbate, because with the change of climate, the increasing of storms, so for example, storm is one problem, and we are analyzing the world up to 2030, 2050. And now the latest project that we release is a carbon asset tracker. So now carbon forests are a financial asset. You can, let me say, negotiate this asset on the secondary market, but forest is at risk. So we launched a new product in our platform where you can decide if you have 2 carbon credits, 2 forests, where to invest. You can invest in the forest that has more resilience because it has less risk to fire, less risk to storm. And so this is an information that for an investor is extremely critical, because if I invest 2 million to compensate my emission, and in 2 years this forest will disappear for a fire, I fire my money. Now I pay a little bit more for a credit for a forest that has 10 times the resilience. So this is an example of how we see the future and how we use the data to orient the decision of the people.
For people unfamiliar with Earth observation, what exactly are satellites capturing today that wasn't possible just 5 to 10 years ago?
Yeah, I started my first experience in this sector with Landsat more than 20 years ago, where 1 kilometer of resolution, so a pixel that is 1 kilometer per 1 kilometer is a big result. So you can see information from the space of 1 square kilometer. Then with the European Union, we have this fantastic asset that is Sentinel and Copernicus constellation with 10 meter of resolution. So we see better. But we are satellite agnostic. At the moment, we use Copernicus, we use Landsat, we use Planet. We are partner of Planet Labs that today offer fantastic imagery at 50 centimeter of resolution. So it's fantastic to see that from 400, 500 kilometers from the space, you can see a pixel that is 50 centimeter by 50 centimeter. This enables a very hyper-local analysis. So, for example, we are working here. One of our customers is a region, the region here in Campania. They need to monitor, to verify how big is the permission to stay on the beach. So normally beach started the the activity with, let me say, 1,000 square kilometer, then there is an evolution of the coastline. And so the original 1,000 square kilometer now is 1,500. So they need to pay more because they have more space. So they asked us to map all the region, all the coastline of the region, to see if there is an increase of available space for the people that has a beach, as some activity related to beach. And we can do this without any local visit, just using the satellite. Imagine if you go, if you need to monitor the activity in Libya, or your remote construction site that is located in South Africa or in South America, and you need to send someone there to visit. How big is the evolution of construction? You can stay in your office and you can monitor. This is a project that we have in this moment in Abu Dhabi. We are collaborating with the government of Abu Dhabi because they have a big problem. A huge number of construction sites, a lot of people that ask money because, okay, I finished another floor of the skyscraper. They don't have any control tool to move to visit 750 construction site is complex. So they use our technology also to monitor the emission. So to say, okay, what is the impact of my development of the city or of the state? They can see, okay, this building generated X tons of CO2, and I can compare construction site with construction site.
Let's talk about urban climate resilience. When we say urban climate resilience, what are the top 3 risk cities, the risks cities are actually facing right now? With all these issues with global warming, the meridional shift, what are they facing right now? What should they be doing?
Yeah, now is that the first aspect is that now city can move finally from intuition-based planning to evidence-based decision-making. So they have this risk, you evidence, warm, flooding, pollution are all risks that city need to address. In this case, they can identify how the risks are distributed in climate areas, because normally, if you see any city in the world concentrate all the investment in the city center, where there is the business, there is a lot of rich people, and this creates a lot of inequality because the neighbors are not addressed, so we can give to them the urgency of the intervention. And in this case, the satellite, as I said before, can give also the information why they have this risk, because they had the big urbanization, they did not pay attention to the greenery, to the traffic movement of the industry. So they have, in this case, the AI, in this case, the use of artificial intelligence helps us process that information faster, detect patterns that normally the human eye cannot see, and transform, as I said also before, raw data into something that a major, a deputy major, or a technical officer can use when they need to decide how to allocate the budget. Because another problem of the city is the budget. They have not an infinite budget to plant trees or to solve problems. So they need to use the allocated budget to have the maximum return, maximum ROI for the city and for the citizens.
So can satellite intelligence actually predict infrastructure failure or urban stress before it happens?
This is the mission. This is the main vision that we have for the future. As I said, the risk is something that can be calculated. We can calculate the exposure also to the risk and also the impact of the risk. So we have all the key to say, okay, what part of the risk is, what part of the infrastructure in this moment is at risk. The concept is, what is the mechanism that's created the risk. So you know that, for example, if the rain is over with a flooding risk, flooding layer derived from satellite, you can know that if the rain is over certain level of millimeter per hour, you need to stop the train circulation, because you will have a flooding. Or, for example, we calculate the age of the trees, so we can identify how big is a tree that is close to a railway station, and we can identify the trees that can collapse with storms on the railway and can block the circulation. So we say, okay, we give an alert. You have a tree, couple of tree, you have that is too close to the railway, is too high, and with a storm, this tree can collapse and create problem for you. This is some of predict, as I said before. You can predict the risk, prevent the risk, and not act. When you stop the circulation, someone can die because you can have an accident. You can save money, you can save life, you can save operation of business in this case.
Now, do you see satellite intelligence becoming a core layer in the AI stack, similar to how APIs or the cloud became foundational?
Yeah, this is all foundation technology. It's clear that for this mathematic model is the base. You need to have some knowledge about how the physics works, how the interaction between object and other object and air. And what is the new in this moment in geospatial industry is the LLM, the geo agent. So normally for a very long time, probably for 40 years, we had the user experience of sea maps. So normally in 19% of the geospatial industry and 19% of the geospatial customer have a GIS or something that is similar to GIS, to see colors, see maps, see bullet points, and so alarm. The evolution is now this geo LLM or geo GTP, where you can interact not with a map, but with text. And so in this case, this simplify more the access to this data, because you can say, okay, if I am a real estate fund or real estate operator, and I just can ask, what is the part of my portfolio that is at risk for flooding or for an earthquake, or can lose the value in the future because the city, the surrounding will become unlivable. You don't need to go to a map, study the map, go the evolution. You just ask to an agent that start several processes for you and give you the result and say, okay, this is your strategy for the future. Invest in that area because I see that typical the municipality is creating a lot of green area, or disinvest in this area because it's too in the city center. You can have unlivable, and probably the value of that building, that flat, that house can go down in the future. This is the evolution how the geo intelligence can help also finance, and there are a lot of success story how the geo intelligence create fantastic solution for finance technology, and now normally this is normally used over. Normally we imagine that the geo intelligence is only for military. Clearly, military is an important market, but this is an incumbent market. It's a traditional market. But now, we as a startup, we have also the mission to see how to enlarge this market to this technology to new markets, to what normally is not space users.
You know, are we moving towards a world where every city has a real-time living model of itself?
I think I travel a lot and I saw several cities. I don't know very well the situation in the US, but for example, in Europe, there are some big cities that are using this digital twin. Now we can imagine that digital twin is a futuristic concept, but is not so more, it's reality. A digital twin is a tool that has several technologies, several aspects that helps cities to test decision before investing money. This is the big aspect, and the resource and money and resource in the real world. In this case, we are part of this sector because we created a simulator for digital twins. So now, as I said, with generative AI, we can simulate the passage of the satellite in the future. So you don't need to imagine only models to study the future, but I can plant trees in a city or create a small lake and verify what is the effect in 10 years, because we generate 10 satellite imagery, one per year, that simulate the growth of the vegetation or some other aspect. And so in this case, we are helping city to say, okay, you have money, you have not, as I said before, infinite money. Simulate different scenario where you can plant trees or change the city or change your infrastructure. We help you to see what will happen if you are solving the problem. So invest a small money, small part of money to buy a license of a software, and avoid to spend a lot of money to see, okay, I try, if I plant this or I change this in the city, can have a success. We can go in the past, we can also demonstrate in the past what are the best practices for this. And so this is a real promise. Digital twin will be a normal technology like the email in the city of the future. If you see in some city also in Far East, like Singapore in this moment has a fantastic digital twin, but also Tokyo. Now, in the short term, we will see this digital twin not only this big city, mega city, but also in the smaller one.
Do you believe that satellite intelligence will become as ubiquitous as GPS? That'll be, people think of satellite intelligence the same as GPS.
Yeah, now I think it is already reality, also because we are not the only company that is investing. For example, Google in this moment is making a lot of investment via Google Labs. Just yesterday, they released a new tool to predict fast flooding. So they have a tool that analyzes a huge amount of flooding events in the world, and then you can use this using also Gemini to predict the flooding. So yes, the answer is yes. We use the GPS now. We actually we don't imagine that we use GPS. It's something that is normal. Probably we cannot imagine our life without GPS. We lost the capability to move in a city. We probably the same for you. Also we use GPS also to go in 1 mile or 10 miles because you have the time. So,
it's you didn't even think about it before. You used to just go use your rote memory to figure out where you're supposed to drive or a map. It's crazy. Now you assume it's just going to take you there, and soon with self-driving cars, you won't have to worry about it anymore. It'll take you right to the spot, drop you off, pick you up. It's crazy. And that's where we're coming to. So if you look at it, this idea of using these technology to do something extraordinary is what you've done. What's been the hardest part of building a deep tech company that most people don't see when you're going down through it? Is it with the long hours? Is it trying to discover the technology? Is trying to get people convinced, right?
We on this we entered in one of the initial failure of the company. We enter in this market and we imagine that the technology can solve all the problem. So you can sell the technology. So for a long time we imagine, and I know that is normal in a lot of European startups. Probably this is our state of mind to say that if you have the best technology, you will have the best customer in the market. And this is not true. So we go against this big wall and with our car and say, okay, technology is 1% of the story of a company. So the concept is how to translate this technology in value proposition or unique selling proposition for people that are not technical. Normally, if you sell product to technical, for example, biomedical to biomedical is easier because your customer speak your same language, the same technology language. So you can work on model or molecular or we enter in a market where people are normally use pen and the pen or at maximum an Excel file. So you need to express and say, okay, you have a problem. To the creation of the problem, the awareness of the problem, and the concept that we are there to solve the problem, not to sell technology. We are not a company that sells technology, but in the last couple of years, it is also in line with the growth of our revenues, our awareness on the market. We don't sell technology. We solve problem for our customers that are in, as I say, cities, urban planners, infrastructure manager and real estate company. They can buy our software, but they can buy also software of one of our competitors. We hope no, but there are a lot of alternative solutions. But it's important to create this market. Normally, it's fantastic to enter in the market. US in this moment is most advanced. You have some very large company. Also, Wozniak invested in a geospatial company. But in Europe is a little bit different. And we need to follow more the US approach. We started our experience with the acceleration in Techstars in Italy, and it's fantastic because we take the best with them. We take the best of the US status of mind, how to launch a company in Italy with the US mentality. We tried to do this. Probably now we have success on this. We hope to maintain this growth, but the basement is this. Try to solve the problem.
No, it's great. Listen, we're coming up to the top of the show. Closing thoughts, and how do people get a hold of you?
This is a story. I have a story because we are based in Naples. Naples is normally known for pizza, pasta, mandolino, and our challenge is to transform this city.
About it like that, because I know it's a lot better there than it is here.
Yeah. And I have a payoff that is Naples downstream valley. We are trying to stay here to emulate the Silicon Valley for downstream service of the Earth observation. So to transform, in Italy we need to become also originator of technology. We need to create network between other companies. We are probably 50 years ahead behind you in this aspect. There is not so big network. So the idea is that we are here. We have a lot of passion. We are solving problem. Actually, if I count, we are solving people for around 20 million of citizens around Europe. So 20 million of citizens are obtain benefit from our solution, and we hope to reach very soon 1 billion of people that can benefit of our technology.
Well, thank you so much, Gaetano, for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. And thanks to all of you for joining one more time. GSD presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Stay sappy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And I will be back to you again soon with another exciting edition of GSD Presents Top Global Startups. Take care of yourself, and take care, Gaetano.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.